Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
All right. The boy
Hello.
here.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm thank you.
Hello, Charles. It's a beautiful day over here. I don't know over there.
Yes, it is. It's a beautiful day. You know, and if you go outside, it's actually not bad. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
When I left home this morning, I was freezing. Now I had to roll the window down because I was sweating inside my car.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I had kind of an opposite experience. Oh, you guys are frozen. I wonder about what kind of connection we're getting here. Did anybody get anything I just said?
Yeah,
I did.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I left here this morning. Today, some of you may be aware of it. They're giving COVID vaccinations over at the Benson Center. And I went over and I got my booster this morning about 10 o'clock. So, you know.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we did get that notification, but we had already gotten all three of
Yeah.
ours.
I'm done way back.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I just got my booster. So, you know, so I'm covered. But, yeah, it's weird, you know. Didn't really affect me either time before. I mean, you just get a little stiff and sore, and you know, that's kind of what I experienced. And this time,
my experience, in fact,
pardon,
Send an email because I didn't get it.
Bob, what did you say?
yeah, well, the first two shots, I was not affected at all. The booster just put me down for about 3 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh.
So
Wow, in bed or?
I was sick.
no, not in bed. Just felt just awful. You know, just no energy, tired.
Oh yeah, that's what I
Couldn't
felt.
get anything done.
One day only.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, all of us are a little bit different.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of beginning to feel that way now. You know, like I said, I got it at 10 o'clock. So, you know,
Drink some water. Drink some water.
Yeah, when you get the shot, you're supposed to drink a 16-ounce glass of water.
Yeah.
So we can give you the day off if you need it.
Yeah.
no, I'm fine. I mean, you know, I'm just feeling kind of stiff and sore, you know, in my back,
Mhm.
you know, which
Yep.
Yeah.
kind of happened the last time. The weird thing is, you know, I was sitting here and it's like part of me is warm and part of me is cold.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I still have a bit of that where I just have to keep an Afghan around him, put it over whatever's cold.
Yeah, you got to be able to keep it so you can move it because, you know, one part is warm, you don't want it on there. The other part is cold. You do.
Right.
Weird. Anyway, so much for my experience with getting the booster shot. Anyway, so anyway, let's get rocking and rolling. Susan, you said something about I didn't send an email, or did I send an email, or?
Yeah, did you send an email? Because I haven't gotten it.
You mean for the
I
photo?
haven't checked. Well, I don't know. I haven't checked my. I don't know.
You mean for the photos?
No, for the shot. But
Oh, well, yeah, they sent that out from Fulton.
Yeah.
okay, I got their email. I thought you sent us another one. Okay, but
No.
if you didn't, that's fine.
No,
Okay.
no, Fulton County sent it out, and they were scheduling appointments at Benson today. I think they're going to be doing it at the other 3 centers on different dates. But yeah, they'll.
Okay, we've already had, we had our booster in October.
Mhm.
So
Okay. All right.
Now, Charlie, question.
Okay.
Did you get to hot meal? We're giving hot meal today. I got my hot meal.
No, no, they weren't. Well, for people going to get the shot, they weren't, you know, they're not providing meals for that. Now, they were working in the kitchen to get meals ready for people to come by and pick up.
Yeah, I got mine.
Yeah, because I think that's kind of the mode they're in right now. Is
Oh.
you know,
How many people were there to get their shots?
there were only about maybe 4 or 5. You know, but I was
Not nearly enough.
well, I was there at 10 o'clock in the morning. I was the very first appointment. You know, and I've talked to several people.
Oh, by appointment then.
Yeah. They're intentionally trying to keep not a lot of people there. Huh. I wonder what that's about. You know, but no, I've talked to several people who have appointments later today.
Mhm.
I think they're giving shots till I think either like 5 or 6 today. You can get an appointment. So, but
Working hard.
Yeah.
if you need
Hey,
one,
thank-
you have to get one. You could always call them and see if they can squeeze you in. So.
I wonder when we get our second booster. I wonder how long we wait for that.
Might be next month.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm just getting my first booster. And you know, we'll see how that goes. So at any rate, let's take a look, see what you guys sent in. We've got a few things to share here today. I don't think we got a ton of stuff, but we got, you know, a little bit. So let's see, you got 8 of us now. Yay! All right, so let's take a look. We're going to start off with Bob because Bob is at the top of the list. His name starts with B, right? And Armando didn't send anything in, so Bob gets to be first. Is that okay with you, Bob?
Oh, that's okay. Just pick on me. I don't care. I can take it.
Okay.
Oh, Bob, yeah, see, I think Bob met a nice lady.
You got a response for that, Bob? I'm waiting.
Well, hey, all ladies are nice. What can you say?
That's right. At any rate, okay, so you had sent this in earlier, and I'm
Right.
assuming that you made some changes to it. And
I did.
yeah, and I thought, you know, you took some of the strong dark out from underneath the shoulder blade, and you know that's fine. The thing I was talking about though is the actual line itself. You know, if it were, I mean, it's kind of like a gray or a black, and it doesn't seem to really have any color in it that relates to the flesh tone itself. And so what I was saying is, you know, just soften that back. And as you soften it back, it's going to get some of that flesh tone color in it, and it will look like it's actually part of the body. But right now, it's still really kind of harsh. And
Oh, hey, go to somebody else. I'm gonna have a phone call that I've got to take.
oh, okay, all right, I can do that. Here, I'll tell you what. We'll change it up big time. We'll go down here all the way to the bottom, and well, let's see. Wanda sent in a couple of pieces, but is she here? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
No,
Okay, but Veronica is here. We saw her.
yeah. She sent a tiger or a lion, I don't know.
Yes, she did. She sent in more than the lion. So she sent in the lion. And Veronica? Are
Yes,
you with-
yes, just,
I'm here, sorry.
Okay. All right. So okay, so this is the lion from Friday, right?
Yes, it is.
And what did you use as far as video? Is this
I
graphite?
used,
Charcoal?
I used graphite pencils, number 2 and number 6.
Okay, 6B?
Yes.
Yeah, because they look like they're kind of soft pencils, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and it looks like you did the drawing It looks like, you know, it's probably on something a little coarser than just regular bond paper.
Oh,
Almost,
yeah.
yeah, almost
A
like
sketchbook.
okay. Is it just a regular kind of sketchbook?
Yeah, the green covered one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. What does it say on it? Does it just say sketching paper?
It's not next to me right now, but it's textured. I like the texture.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because it's got a little more tooth to it. It's almost like kind of like what they would call a cold press watercolor paper. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or a plate watercolor paper, which it's got just a little bit of texture to it, where the cold press is like real bumpy and the rough is like really rough.
Right.
Yeah. So you're using graphite, and it looks like, you know, when you laid it down, you know, you're doing, you know, some nice stuff as far as, you know, getting the direction of your strokes to sort of indicate the flow of the hair and the direction that it's moving in. The only thing I would say to you is that, you know, when I'm doing a drawing and I'm using a media like graphite that I can move around and smudge and smear a little bit, you know, I'll take a paper towel and I'll just kind of lightly lay out where things are first. And then I'll take that paper towel and then I'll just kind of lightly rub it back. And in doing so, you know, when I do that, I'm not getting rid of that light sketch. It's still there. I can still see it and see where it was. But I'm beginning to get just a little bit of tone on the paper. See? So I'm not just working on the white paper itself. And then from there, I'll go back in and I'll start, you know, making other layers, you know, or other passages of, you know, value and building up the value. And it's like each time I'll go back and I'll just soften it just a little bit, you know, each step along the way, you know. And I just build up the drawing a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And then once I've got all my values in place, you know, then I'll come back in and I'll actually put in, if I'm going to use line work, that's where I'll put it in, is toward the end. And, you know, putting the lines down and then taking an eraser and pulling tone out for highlights.
Okay.
So if you'll build your drawings up kind of step by step that way, you know, what you'll get the advantage of the fact that you'll take some of the drawing and you'll have it there, but it will be softer. And so that really at the very end, when you're putting in that line work and that last kind of passage or layer, then you're really putting in, you know, the focal point and the details in the drawing. You know, up until then, you're just building up the composition and values. Yeah. So, yeah, Bob, you raised your hand.
I'm just back. That's all. I'll just let you know.
All right. All right. Thanks for warning us. Now we know you're back. Okay. But okay, so, you know, when I look at the drawing, does it look like a lion? Yeah. Okay. You know, you get the idea. You're drawing a lion, right? Is it a photographic representation of a lion? Probably not.
No.
You know, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be. But, you know, you got the feeling of a lion. And, you know, really, like I said, about the only thing that would make the drawing, you know, better is if everything, like all your pencil strokes, weren't kind of, right?
Okay.
And the way you get them not equal is you just, you know, some things you soften back, you know, early on in the drawing, and you build on top of it.
Okay.
In looking at the girl with the seashell, okay, kind of the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
Now, in this, you didn't put in as much tone, and you probably could have used it, you know, and then use that eraser to pull out some lights, because primarily where the sun was on her, she was kind of a little bit of a silhouette, you know. She was pretty much so all in shadow. And it was really just like the top of the shell, and I think, you know, the edge of the arm on the right that was really catching light. Everything else was kind of in some type of shadow or not direct light. And so having an overall tone on this would have helped, kind of hold it together.
Okay.
And then you wouldn't have to rely so much on, trying to build up the value, at the edge of the arm and create these like really soft, kind of fuzzy looking areas, because you'd have a tone there rather than a texture. Okay. And then with your flower, kind of the same thing. Okay. But, you're seeing what you're drawing. You're seeing a lot of the actual underlying structure, and you're getting that, in the drawing, which is important, and, probably more important than anything else we're talking about. So all of that's, beginning to work. And again, if you can find a way to work with that pencil and keep some of it soft and keep some of it kind of intentionally sharper, that will give you kind of a broader range of ways to describe what it is that you're seeing and what you're trying to capture. Okay.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, nice, good work.
Thanks.
Susan.
Yeah, so I'm here.
Yep. So Susan, I want to talk to you about two things. Okay. One is, and we've had this discussion before, when you take,
I took it late yesterday
uh-huh.
afternoon, and I guess maybe it was too late. I took it on my porch, but it doesn't seem to.
You took it on what?
I took them late in the afternoon. Maybe it was too late.
Yeah.
The picture.
Okay. Well, the main thing is, I want you to work on trying to square up the image in the camera. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so that it's not shot off kind of at an angle and real distorted, because it's difficult to see. Plus the lighting on the page is really bright at the bottom and kind of falls off the top, so it kind of washes out a lot of the information in the drawing. So yeah, so I want you to work on practicing taking photos of your work.
Okay, I'll try. I'll try to. I couldn't take it earlier yesterday, so and
That's
I couldn't
fine.
take it today.
Yeah.
I had a doctor's appointment, so I just try to do it a little bit later, and I guess
Yeah, that's
it
fine.
may have been too late in the day.
Yeah, but yeah, when you do it, see, I gotta come out of this now. Now the top half of me is getting hot, so when you do it, just take your time, set it up a little bit, and get a good picture of it so that we can really see what you're doing. Okay.
Okay.
Now, from what I can see, okay, you I mean, you've captured sort of the photo. You even put in the second figure back there. She's kind of ghosted in there back behind her.
That made her very light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, again, just like with Veronica, you're still relying a lot on what we would call line. And you're not really building up your values and kind of these softer tones. And if you get used to doing that could really do a lot to help your drawing. Because again, how can you have a hard, soft contrast when everything is sort of a direct pencil mark on the page? See, they're all kind of the same, right? But as soon as you take a paper towel and soften some of those back, all of a sudden, you got a contrast.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? So, yeah, as you're drawing, and I hope you're not just drawing on Fridays, during the week, stuff like that, practice, keep a paper towel near you. And are you using graphite?
Yeah, I'm using the number, this was the number 7, I think, 7B.
Yeah.
That I used.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and see, with a pencil that soft, you don't really have to work really hard to begin to build up, some good strong darks with it. It doesn't take a lot of effort to do that because the
I mean,
pencil
it
is
doesn't
so,
look that, it doesn't look that light on the actual page.
yeah,
It looks like
yeah,
on there.
yeah. I'm kind of guessing that it, like I said, the lighting that you used to take the photo sort of burnt out the drawing, so
It was a late afternoon sunlight, so it
Yeah.
was,
okay. All right.
but I wanted to get them yesterday, so that's why.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
we got them. They're here. Okay. So that hurdle's crossed. Here's your lion. Now you used colored pencil on him,
Yes,
right? Okay.
right.
Yeah, maybe with a little graphite. And I still.
No, it was actually a black colored pencil too.
Oh, so it's all colored pencil? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because they'll play better together than the graphite and the color pencil.
Okay.
The graphite is soft, and so it keeps moving. Color pencil will never go anywhere. You put it down and it's there. There's very few ways that you can blend colored pencil, other than doing it intentionally and just very soft and kind of moving like in like a circular motion or in a one direction and then changing the angle slightly and building it up. But in this case, again, it's kind of the same thing that you're doing with the graphite pencil. So you're really not trying to create areas that are soft and tonal. It's still very lineal feeling, and I want you to work on trying to begin to build, some tone and some transitions, because that would be good practice for you. Plus, it gives you again.
You're breaking up a little bit. Charles, I can't hear you too well. Can you repeat?
Okay, yeah. What I'm saying is, I want you to practice laying down some tones, kind of smooth gradations, right? Areas where you're filling in some color, but you're trying to do it very softly. So it doesn't look, like the mane here looks kind of scratchy, right? It's a lot of little lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
Okay.
yeah, you could have kind of created like a softer shape, and filled it in with a color, but a tone at the same time.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And that will give you that hard, soft contrast. Because if all of this were a lot softer, all of that would look a lot sharper. See?
Okay.
But because these are kind of these lineal marks, and these are all kind of lineal marks, they kind of feel the same, right?
Right. Okay. I see.
And then here's your, flower, the Cajava lily. And just like with Veronica, I mean,
It's
you
kind of sideways. It's sideways. I think it goes
like that. Yeah, that
like that.
yeah, that
Yeah.
looks about right. Anyway, what I was saying is that you and Veronica have similar issues. You both kind of need to slow down and kind of start making some values and some tones rather than just lines, right? And
Okay.
yeah, the more you practice that, the better you'll get at it. So,
And I haven't. You asked me a little while ago if this is all I'm drawing right now.
Mhm.
I went to move out of our house technically, so I'm still trying to put my house back together. But
you got a project.
as soon as I get everything settled again, I'll start doing more drawing. I just haven't had a lot of time lately, but
No.
I'm almost there. So.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Yeah, look, you do what you can, right?
Yeah.
And every little bit helps. So.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So let's go to Rebecca. Is Rebecca here? I think she was. Rebecca, where are you? There she is. I see her.
Here.
Okay.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Well, we're looking at your drawing. Can you see your drawing of the Cajava lily?
I can.
You know, with all your notes and stuff? Okay. All right. So, you know, you've got a really nice kind of delicate drawing here. And, you know, you pretty much so have used almost, you know, total line. You did, though, come back in and put in some value on the stalk to make it darker, and a couple of different values, actually,
Okay.
which is kind of nice, you know, because what it does is that sort of pushes the stalk, you know, back and lets the flower kind of pop forward. And so that's working, you know, in that sense. Your line work overall is, like I said, you know, really pretty delicate. And so you don't have a lot of like really strong, bold marks in there. And I guess the only thing I'd say about this is it would be good for you to sit down and figure out where you could put some stronger, bolder lines in there to contrast
Okay.
a lot of the kind of medium weight and light and delicate line work as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Again,
Okay.
you know, we're looking for variety.
All right.
Yeah. The more variety and variation we get, the more natural it begins to feel. Okay.
Okay. All right.
You know, so now we got your line. Okay. And
Oh, it's a nice fight.
yeah, yeah, he looks like he just, you know, they just kind of laying down after the buffet.
Right. He just woke up after a nap.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it looks kind of, to me, I kind of read it more as he's headed for the nap, right? You know, he's
Right.
full, he's all full, he's just got to, you know, push himself away from the buffet table. And now it's kind of like time to, you know, go find a nice shady tree and take a nap. So anyway, that's my story, you know, that I'm reading into it. So I see that you're doing a couple of things here, and Susan and Veronica, you can both kind of take a look at this because she's using line work, but you can also see where she's rubbed back some of the pencil to begin to create some softer sort of tones and transitions. You know, and you don't have to have everything there, you know, just enough, you know, just enough to kind of tell you what's going on. And in this particular case, you know, with the change in value and kind of the areas blocked in tone and, you know, light and tone, you know, it reads and you kind of understand what's going on there with this guy. I like the fact that you didn't come back in and really beef up, you know, this outside edge. And you, in fact, kept it softer, which is nice because it really contrasts all of the kind of more precise, darker, heavier line work, you know, in the face of the lion. Okay. And so that really draws your eye, you know, right there to that face. And so that worked pretty well. When we get to the girl, okay, you know, pardon?
I was just laughing at her.
Why are you laughing at her?
Well, she's definitely not a lion.
No, she's not a lion. Okay.
What she has in her hand?
A shell.
A shell.
Yes, a large.
She's listening to the sound of the ocean in the shell.
Yeah. Haven't you ever done that, Armando? Held a shell to your ear and listened to the ocean?
Oh, I'm afraid maybe something. No, something inside the shell gonna get him. Mm-mm.
Armando,
Well,
you're
make sure it's set.
yeah, you're definitely kind of breaking up there. So I can't really tell exactly what you were saying, but everybody was having a good time with it, I guess. So yeah, you want to make sure that the shell is empty and that there's not an inhabitant in there. You know, like a little crab to come out and pinch your ear before you do that. Okay. But yes, you can pick up seashells along the shore, and if you hold them to your ear, you can actually hear the ocean in them. I've never been able
Or
to
if
figure
you
out-
dive, you can see them.
Yeah. I've never been able to quite figure out why that is. You know, why sound of the ocean in a shell, but it does work. Now in this drawing, you've got a pretty good range of value. You got a variety of line work. You have some kind of softer areas laid in value and tone. And out of your 3 drawings, this is really your better drawing. So, you did a really nice job at it.
Thank
Still haven't figured out why you're laughing at her, but
Yeah, I think that's nervous laughter. Whenever anything that I have up there is critiqued,
Ah.
that's just me. Just not really a humorous thing. It's just you feel a little on the spot, and so you probably start laughing.
okay. All right. So, I've got a couple of suggestions for you, though. Okay.
Okay.
And you're kind of on the way there. You haven't gone far enough yet. But, we talk about making the outline on an arm or a leg or some part of the body, different than what's on the opposite side, right? Because, let's just talk about the forearm. Let me see, did I find it? Yeah, there it is. Let's just talk about the forearm, okay?
Okay.
As it moves into the hand, the one holding the shell.
Right.
Okay. If you look at this forearm, you've got 2 lines, that are laid down there that are pretty distinct and pretty clean. On one side, the left side, the line is a little bit softer. It's a little bit darker and it's a little bit broader. Okay. The one on the right is almost as dark, not quite as solid and or broad. But the value of it, when I squint my eye down and I look at the 2 lines, the values are pretty close, And I guess what I would say is, I don't think I would change this, but, again, you might take a paper towel or something and just rub along this edge to see if you can soften it.
Okay.
But here and probably on the outside of the shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it's not a matter of erasing them. You don't want to get rid of them. You just want to
Right.
soften them so that,
Okay.
we get a sense that, the light is hitting one side, there's shadow on the other. Okay.
Okay.
And that would kind of get you there.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. All right, Gwen?
Charles,
Yes.
I sent you a whole bunch of animal pictures and a study of value, intensity, and temperature. Did you get that?
Not before class, I didn't know. When did you send it?
Okay. Yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
I sent you at least four new alphabet animal pictures, and then yesterday's the thing we talked so much about value and intensity and temperature. I did another study with circles
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that. Can you
Okay.
Can you go back, check your
Sure.
email and see if they left?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay,
You
I'll
don't have
try.
to right now, but yeah. But
Yeah.
check and see, and I'll be on the lookout for them, and
Okay,
yeah, we'll try to cover them on Thursday. Okay.
okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So Gwen.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Yes, you are. Okay. So I could.
Yeah.
I could.
Oh, it wasn't so much that I was wanting the critique of it. It's just I didn't understand where this had come from.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a painting that's basic. It's the same model. It's the same face. Rick and I interpreted it very differently, but yeah, it's the same source of reference. Okay. And he did his.
Was that in your studio? That was in. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. We. Yeah, it was an acrylic, and I did it as a demo over at Benson. I think back in about 2016 or 15, something like that.
Back in the old days.
It's getting to be the old days now. Yes.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of where it came from, And I mean, he stayed pretty true to the whole idea and composition and stuff. Because she, it was the face of a geisha, and she had the white powder on, but you definitely saw the skin tones. As it got close to the hair, the powder stopped. The makeup stopped and made a kind of a almost an outline like a mask. And
so you had a real model when this was done?
No, this was working from a photo.
Okay.
So, yeah, I could probably find the photo if I looked around long enough for it. But yeah.
If you come across it, maybe you could shoot it to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to pass it on because it'll be Kelly that gets it, and she would like to have a little history on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Now, whether he did this in my class or whether he did this, on his own later, in a watercolor class or something, I'm not sure. But, I had handed out the reference, for this and a couple of other pieces to everybody that were, that was attending the class. So
you have never seen that particular piece?
The actual painting, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, okay.
Not that he had done. I recognized where it came from, but I don't remember him doing it in my class. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times he would just come out and get a reference and do a small, although this one is probably at least an 8.5 by 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on some probably watercolor board.
Yeah. Yeah. That's still fairly small. 8 by 10. So
yeah.
All right. But okay.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of the story behind that, as far as I know. And then we have John, Mr. Gigliotti. Where are you? I see you.
Yes, sir.
You're here. Okay. All right. So now here's a bit of a challenge for you. If you think back about all the different lions that we looked at today, right? And you look at sort of the expressions of them, they all have different expressions. And it's interesting because I think the expression sort of goes along with the personality of the person, who drew it. They really do. Really do. I think you guys are subconsciously ending up in the lion somehow. That's just my take on it. Yeah.
I like his mane sticking up too.
Yeah. Now for
I think he's smiling. He looks like he's going to say something funny, or he's grinning about something.
Yeah. He's got a bit of kind of a smirk on on his face.
Yes, a twinkle in his eye.
Yeah, this one doesn't look like he's going to sleep though anytime
No.
soon.
No. He he's. It looks like he's kind of like got something kind of smart to say. So.
Or either that or he's just finished off the last of the safari.
Right.
Yes, he could be very, very satisfied with. It's like, okay, I ate the last of those, those that guys.
Turistos.
So, but the thing I want to point out for those of you I've talked to about this before, this is a good example of, just look at the difference, between your drawing and this drawing, and look at how John used the actual material. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is graphite, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And so, John's got a variety of line work, but he's also taken the time at different stages of the drawing to rub it back and soften it. And you notice how the kind of the soft areas contrast the sharper, more lineal areas.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you spend more than the I don't forgot how long we spent on it? 20 minutes?
30 minutes. We had 30 minutes.
Just during the class.
Just during the class. Well, you got rendered it very nicely quickly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you get a nice sense of, how the light and shadows are playing on the face. And, it doesn't look flat. It's got a lot of form to it. And the mane sits back, behind the main body of the head. And the feet actually, get bigger and come forward so that they're actually, again, in front of the face itself. So, so you've got some nice sense of, distance and perspective in there. One thing closer to you, something further away. So, yeah, that's a really nice, very nice drawing, John.
Thank you. It's the
Nice.
only one of the projects that I did halfway decent.
It's the only one of the project that what?
It's the only one of the three I think I was successful at.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, because you sent in this piece, and this is a watercolor. And hadn't we looked at this before?
No, that's what I just did.
Okay. All right.
I was trying to play a little bit with what we were talking about with values, intensity,
Right.
sharper edge, like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So let's have a conversation about this piece. Okay. And I'm not saying me. I'm saying all of you. Okay. Point out anybody. Point out one of the different types of contrast in this painting.
But now what?
Yeah, you went for a second.
There's 5.
He's still going.
Am I still gone? Oh,
Now you're back.
okay. Well, it's telling me my internet connection is unstable. Wow. Okay. All right. There are 5
Yes.
types. There are 5 types of contrast. Okay. All right. So point out, where those 5 different types of contrast are in this. Anybody.
Yeah, it's the middle upper edge down to the very darks in the near mountain.
Okay. Be a little more specific, Gwen. So you're talking
I
about
can't really point.
you're talking about
Yeah,
up here in the sky.
the very light
Okay.
is one of the contrasts, and then
But
one of the
what type of
lightest
contrast?
light.
Yeah. What type of contrast is it?
Oh,
Is
it's
it you?
the value, the light and the dark.
Okay. Yeah. It could be value. Okay, because there is a lot of different contrast, or a great contrast between this area and say here, right? But is there a lot of contrast between this and the mountain?
Well, there is
There's a little, but not that
there
much, right?
below blue,
Yeah.
not as
because-
big as the middle down to the dark mountain below.
Right. Yeah, there's actually a wider value contrast in this area than there is up here. But the fact that, you know, this is so light and then this is light as well, and they're up against each other, you know, it's a very subtle, very soft kind of contrast, so it tends to appear to be further away, right? Where the contrast, the value contrast between, say, the water here and the landmass is, you know, very distinct. And because there's more contrast here, this moves forward, this moves backward, okay? So when we're talking about the range of value, okay, you know, it's working fairly well because he's kept them close together back here. And as it moves forward, you know, then they get a little bit further apart, a little bit more different from each other until you get here and you've got a fairly strong contrast between this dark area and the water. And that's really probably one of, let's see. Yeah, it's one of three areas that have, you know, at least that much contrast in it. And so it's like this area right here seems to be closest to us. The area back here, again, maybe not, you know, maybe not quite as strong, a little more subtle, so it sits back. You know, and then as you go back up in here, there's very little contrast, and so it moves all of that way back. Is there any other kind of contrast other than
He's got edges. He's got nice clean edges close to us, which define the shapes, and
Okay.
then they get real soft as they move back into the painting.
Yeah,
Plus,
they do.
plus, isn't there a contrast in the color
Mhm.
between warm versus not warm colors?
Well, yes,
Cool.
some are warmer, some appear to be cooler because of what
Right.
they're next to, right? Like for
Right.
example, okay, the yellow here that's kind of patched in over the brown. If you look at the brown, because the brown actually appears to be more neutral because of the intensity of the yellow here. Okay. Now, if you had it all by itself, it might look like a really nice, warm, reddish brown. But against something that intense, you see it begins to make the color feel like it's, you know, slightly muted, right? And, you know, that's what we were talking about the other, you know, just yesterday when we were talking about broken color. See, broken color will give you that kind of effect, you know, where, you know, you can play not only the value contrast and the edges, but also the temperature and the intensity. And when you get really good at playing with all of those and you get them into an area like, you know, the area here in the front, it will really help reinforce that idea that all of this is closer to you. And that as you move back in painting, you're moving further away.
Okay.
But you got you've got a lot of different things going on in this painting, John. And, you know, the good news is that it's working. You know, you're using the different types of contrasts that we've talked about, and you've been.
We all lost him.
Yeah, we did.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it just cut out. It just went away. I don't know why. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Screen sharing is gone. Just the
Oh.
screen share.
Yeah, I'm not screen sharing anymore. Yeah, when it kicked us out of there. All right. So can you see the painting again?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So anyway, I was just saying that, he's got a good variety of contrast in the painting, and it really helps, create this sense of depth, in composition. And so you got a handle on it, John. It's working for you.
Thank you.
And then
Conscious.
what? Yeah, you're breaking up. I can't hear what you're saying because you're cutting out.
Yeah, you're cutting out as well.
Yeah. Hang on one second, okay? Let me try something. Evidently, we're having internet issues today.
Run once.
Lucky us. Let me see if I can use my hotspot. All right, come on. Where are you? Right there. All right. Network. Right there. Okay. Anybody home? Okay. Are we all back?
I'm here.
Yep.
Here.
Okay. Well, I just switched it over to the hotspot on my phone, so hopefully that will improve things. We hope.
So far, so good. It's coming in loud and clear. A lot better.
Okay. All right. So, John, can you repeat what you were saying earlier, please?
I said I was definitely trying to use all the elements we talked about, and that was my exercise.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and in looking at your, well, this is not a drawing. This is, a watercolor. Okay, so yeah, you've got areas that are soft, areas that are hard. You've got value contrast. You've got contrast between warm and cool areas. You do have some intensity in there, though you seem to have it more in the background than you do on the figure. And
Right.
I kind of wonder about that a little bit because this red back here and this very strong blue are kind of distracting when you compare it to the figure. You kind of want to go back and forth between those two areas because the intensity of the color. Okay. But so if I were gonna, I mean, it's not that like the figure doesn't come forward; it does. But these two areas where the red is and where the blue are kind of compete with it a little bit. Okay. And I guess if I were doing this painting, I would probably take a brush that had a bit of water in it, and I would just wet, both of like this area and this area, and see if you couldn't just fade them back just a little bit or blur them out so that they're not quite so prominent.
I was trying to get the feeling that not only is she hearing the ocean and the shell, but she was sort of being enveloped in the entire process of the water and the hearing and sort of swirling into it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it would be kind of an either, you could go either direction, okay? Which is either get more color and maybe darker values and use the color to define the edges of her more clearly.
Uh-huh.
That's one direction. The other direction is, take small area here and the fairly small area of the blue
Right.
and just put a little water on it and let them kind of dissolve and soften. And I think if you did that, she would come forward almost immediately.
Okay. Okay. That's an easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I always try the easy route first.
Yeah. I would too. It's my
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah. There's no sense in jumping it over your head and
Right.
getting to the point where you're fighting with the thing, trying to get it to do what you want it to do. If you
I ended up using the watercolor because when I looked at this, I just felt totally overwhelmed to try to do it with my graphite pencil.
okay, and that's fine. It's hey, Fridays are all about you guys. So now, did you take more time than the 30 minutes on this?
It's still the 30 minutes.
Oh, just within the 30 minutes. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot done for 30 minutes. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll show you something I did in 30 minutes and you'll. Okay. And we talked about this, I think.
Yes.
I wasn't sure, but didn't we cover this?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can still look and admire it. It's a nice piece, I like the color and the movement, in the vase itself and the flowers, it's kind of simple, but still yet at the same time, really pretty nice piece. So hang on to that. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then we have your Cajava lily.
Now, that was disaster.
Okay. What was a disaster about it?
Well, first of all, the background, I wanted to get the darker background to make the flower pop out a little more. And because of the paper I was using a watercolor paper.
Yeah.
I couldn't texture and even rubbing it, I couldn't get the lines out of it. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because it looks like you're using like a cold press.
Yeah, it's regular cold press watercolor paper, right?
Yeah.
140.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of tooth, and so it really picks up the pencil on the high spots, and it's difficult to rub it back and get a smooth, tone to it. You pretty much have to just lay out the drawing and start building up some tone in there and keep working with a paper towel and rubbing it back and building up the graphite. And eventually you'll get, a fairly smooth tone, but it takes.
Just keep putting layers of graphite and rubbing in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to build it up, and then you'll rub it back a little bit gently. And then you'll go back and you'll work over it, and you'll go back and rub it back until you begin to build up the value and get the kind of surface that you're wanting. And I would do it all over, and then I would take from there, wherever the wood or the stems or anything were, go back in and do the same thing, begin to build up your values, in those smaller areas and rub them back and just, keep hitting them, keep building them up slowly and softening them.
I think it sort of looks like a crab crawling on the sea bottom.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that is because of the value on the outside of it.
Okay.
It's not correlating or making any particular type of shape.
Correct.
And it looks like it's kind of like hanging off the flower itself. Um, again, if you would have continued on out with that and kept softening it back, then it might feel more like a flower. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and those are not easy, by the way, because they look simple, but they're really very complicated. And you really got to sit and look at it for a little bit and kind of figure out, what's the number of petals, how are they arranged, what are the proportions, things like that. So there was a lot, to this drawing. So, anyhow.
Yeah, of the three, to me, the lion was the easiest.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think out of everything you showed us today, well, obviously the vase with the poppies in it, works really well. But
Right.
out of the others, the landscape and the lion were probably the stronger two pieces. Okay. All right, have we got Claudia Lang Pitts here? Anybody?
I think she's here.
Claudia, where are you? Not. Okay. Claudia sent in, and I'm just speculating, okay, because I don't really know. Claudia sent in some photographs, and they're out of Atlanta Magazine. And it starts off with this guy right here. Now, his name is Alan Avery. Have any of you heard of Alan Avery before?
Yeah, this is Gwen. I've been to his gallery in Buckhead.
Yeah.
Avery? Nope.
Yeah, it's Alan's been around. It says
Forever.
40 years. He's been here ever since I got to Atlanta, and that's been like 33 years. And he's pretty much so been a gallery nonstop, And in fact, Alan and I kind of go back. We had a mutual friend who was an artist who ended up passing away.
Mm.
And Alan ended up with, just about all of his work, to try to sell it off for the estate and stuff. And, and he was the guy that I keep talking about, telling you the horror stories about using pastel, because he literally died from exposure to.
Oh, not Alan, but the guy who died.
No, the artist who showed at his gallery. Yeah.
Oh.
It was unfortunate, but anyway, Claudia sent this in, and I read bits and pieces, of this, and it's all kind of about, the 40 years of the gallery being in town, and, it's a good article. So if you can get a hold of a Atlanta Magazine, and you want to check it out, you could. My guess is.
What issue is it? Do you know?
Let's see. I'm not certain. I think it's recent. But you could go to the Atlanta Magazine website and
Right.
just Google the article. Do a search for the article, it would come up. Okay. But here, like here's some of the work that he's carrying. So, always.
Oh, he carries lots of different things at different times.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yes, from very contemporary pieces to photography to sculpture to, really nice paintings. Generally has a really pretty good eye and a good sense of what people are looking for in the market out there. So yeah.
Yes.
he's a
I
good
saw an installation where he had this, well, the lady, the artist, had been doing dreamscapes, and she had the installation was hanging of textiles that flowed in the breeze in the room, and she would be awakened, I don't know, every hour, hour and a half, and she would sketch out what her dream was. And that installation, I still remember, is a very moving installation.
So is he always looking for emerging artists?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's an ongoing thing with him, and he showed, you know, a really wide variety of people, you know, in the Atlanta area. So he does carry, you know, a lot of local artists, but he also gets, you know, regional and national, you know, artists as well. So,
Is he in the Bennett Street area, or where's the gallery?
he had been at Bennett Street. I think now he's back over close to the Design Mart.
Ah,
You know, I can't remember exactly what the name of that road is, but yeah, it's the big like interior design thing. I think he has a gallery over there. If not in there, but you know, a building real close to it. So, but I'm sure you could, you know, Google him and get his address. But you know, if he's like any other gallery right now, then it's kind of, you know, by appointment.
right.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're not hanging out with their doors open the way they used to, you know, back in the good old days. All right, so let's. I didn't mean to forget all about Bob, but yeah, let's get to Bob. Cover him real quick. So Bob.
Yes.
Okay, so we're back. Okay, and you're back. And I guess really the only thing I wanted to say about this was, yeah, the dark lines, particularly like down the back and under the shoulder blade here. You don't want them to go away. But right now, when I look at that, the contrast on it, I would say that it's probably about out of a scale of 0 to 10. I would say it's about an 8. Okay, so it's fairly dark. And to really, you know, have it there, but not create so much contrast, you probably need to take it down to about a 5 or a 4. Okay, so you could really soften and fade that line back, you know, a fair amount. Now that doesn't mean that it has to disappear. It just needs to go back, you know, in value. And there's a couple different ways you could do that. You know, probably the simple, easy way is to take some of the colors that you were working with in the skin tones, you know, to either side of it, and just, again, very lightly, you know, work back and forth across that dark line and see if you can't, you know, fade it back so that you can still see it, but that it's not that, you know, as strong or dominant as it is now. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yep. And well, part of it I have to say is a photographer and photography.
Okay.
Basically, if I look, when I look at the painting that I have, what you see in the photograph looks everything looks pale on it, which would make the darks really dark. And but on the painting itself that I did, it's nowhere near that washed out kind of look.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll have to. I guess you'll have to hold it up in front of you, so we can.
Well, it's big.
Okay.
I'd have to stand across the room.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll take a look at it at a different time.
Yeah, maybe I get a better photo of it. We'll see.
Yeah. Now you took this indoors, right?
No, that one I took out on my deck.
Oh, okay. All right.
Basically, it was. I mean, it was not bright sun,
Mhm.
but it was, just slightly overcast. I mean, there was a good bit of sunlight out there.
Yeah.
But it was not directly on the painting itself. It was.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as far as like the color and stuff like that, the saturation of the color, all of that looks pretty good. You know, like I said, the only area that I had problems with, in any way, form, or fashion is really the line running up and down in the center of her body
Mhm.
to kind of indicate where the spine is. And it's, like I said, it's not that it has to go away. It just needs to change color and or maybe temperature and not have as much contrast as it does right now. So like if I were doing this, I might take something like a terracotta, an Indian red or a red, and just very lightly, work over that line. Just, little at a time, and kind of fade that line back so that it's not gone, but it's not nearly as prominent as it was.
Mhm.
And see
Is
what,
this pastel, Bob?
Pardon me?
Pastel?
Yes, this is pastel.
okay. And then we're going to go down here to the bottom, and we're going to look at your dog.
Mhm.
And now, I'm guessing he's wearing a collar, and that
Yep.
collar has a
Yep.
chain attached to it right here.
Yep.
Okay.
Scratch board. The painting I did for my son and daughter-in-law of their dog, she was very jealous, and she came up to me and says, "Dad, if you're going to do one of him, you have to do one of me, or I'm not going to behave."
I see.
And so I had to do this. This is one.
All right. Well, hopefully, she's, falling in line and being cooperative with you now.
At the moment.
Always subject to change.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, what can I say? It's it's a really nicely done piece. You can tell you took your time on it. You were very careful about how you laid your line work down, for the fur. You carried that all the way through up by the eyes and, with the little mane on the dog. So yeah, I'd say it worked pretty well. Really, the only thing that when I looked at it, that I questioned or that bothered me in any way was the the connection, to the collar. And the thing is, you totally lose how it's connected in here. And kind of wondering whether you need that or not. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I would kind of say that you'd probably be better off, just getting rid of it, and not having that, that connection there. Because then you would just look at the dog, which is what, you want to look at anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I guess, my solution would be, simplify it, get rid of, that little bit of link or whatever it is. And I think you'll be fine. Okay. All right.
I have a question about it.
Yeah,
How long did it take you to accomplish that? That's a lot of detail.
Let's see. I started it on Sunday morning, worked on it for a couple hours. Then yesterday's class, I kind of watched the class and did work on that. And it was done by noon yesterday. So probably 5 hours.
It's beautiful. What is your medium and what is the paper?
It's not paper. It's what's called scratchboard, and basically it's a clay base covered with black ink, and you do it with an X-Acto knife or some kind of sharp instrument that you can just scrape away the black, and what you're left with is the white, and then you temper how much black you take off in order to get shading, and
That's fantastic. That's very impressive.
thank you.
So
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to remove the collar part of
Oh,
that?
Oh yeah, you can. Basically, they
Okay.
have you go ahead and cover it with ink, and then you re-scratch over that once that ink is dry.
I got you.
Ampersand, who makes the board, has what they call repair black, because you can make mistakes very easily doing this, and
Yeah,
all
I
of a
bet.
sudden, you're practically done, and all of a sudden, oh, I didn't mean to do that. And then, so what do? Well, you cover it up and start over.
Yeah, you got to know how to correct those.
Yes.
But I love the expression in the eyes.
I do too.
Thank you. That's her. I try to capture her personality. I mean, there are people who do scratch boards that are, I mean, they can do photographic realism with this kind of a method. And I would rather try to get the personality, or a little bit more painterly, as you might say. And you can dye this with inks. I mean, I could come over this with some like blonde ink and make her color, her natural color. But I think she works well in black and white.
What did you use for the nose? Because your board is not as dark as that.
That's just an optical illusion. It is. I didn't do anything. I just scraped out a little white to show some reflection, and your eye and your brain think it's darker than it really is.
Right.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's isolated, with a mid-tone or a light around it. So it's going to appear to be darker than the big mass outside the head. So
that really is an optical illusion. That's amazing.
yeah, I don't know whether you guys realize this or not, but it happens in your paintings all the time.
And again, what's the name of the medium?
It's called scratchboard.
Scratchboard.
then-
Okay, thank you.
Ampersand makes the best scratchboard. There are scratch papers out there, but boy, you really have to be careful with that, because you're using the same kind of instruments to try to do and you can go right through them in a heartbeat. So
And what do you scratch with? Some kind of knife?
I use an X-Acto knife. I have a number of things I can use. I have X-Acto knives. I have tattoo needles, if you're going to really do fine detail. And then I've got some broad scrapers that will take off lots of ink this at a time, if you're going to try to get something real white. I'll have to send in some of my old ones that I've done. I haven't done scratchboard in quite a while. Send in some old ones. They're kind of interesting.
We've seen. Was the turtle scratchboard?
I'm sorry?
Was the turtle that you did a scratchboard?
Yes.
We've seen a few of yours. They're all very good.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, we have yet to admire his flower. Okay. This is and you did, you got the structure of it right, the proportions, how everything is kind of connected up. You did a really nice, accurate job of doing a drawing of this thing. Now, kind of the same thing I was going to say, to everybody else. If you're going to lay that dark on the outside of it, then I would probably take a little bit of time and a Q-tip and just start working close to the edge, and just, again, take that value and soften it, blend it into the background. If you do that, then that flower is really going to pop forward. Right now it feels kind of like it's sinking in, but if you just soften that background, it won't compete with it, and then it should pop up for you.
It was almost an exercise in negative drawing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because you're not going to find a wide range of value, on the flower itself. It's all the contrast of the different greens and things around that flower. So. Yeah, okay. Anybody got anything else to say about the flower before we move on? Nope. Okay. All right. Then we got his lion. We've never seen this lion before, right? So we got the lion, we got the girl with the shell. Okay. And Bob, you're getting better at laying down a tone.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah. Yeah. Notice how, he's working kind of like in a direction, right? But he does it in such a way where it doesn't look real scratchy. It looks soft, right? And that's kind of what you're after when you're building up those tones. And, the softer you can keep this background tone, the more contrast it's going to have with the line work that you put down. Okay? All right. And kind of the same thing with the girl. Okay.
That was a hard, her face just didn't come out, and I was just I think I gave up about halfway through this one. I just had a hard time with her face.
Yeah. Well, that's where a paper towel comes in handy.
Well, I have dumps and I have cotton swabs, and I mean, I've got all the paraphernalia, but.
Okay. But yeah, if you get, if you get frustrated with it, and probably, the big difference is that everything looks really kind of strong and harsh here, and on her face, everything was kind of soft, right? And so
Yep.
taking a paper towel and rubbing it back, till it's soft enough, and then going back in, and if there are any lights to lift out, or restating the line work, but trying to be, a little more conscientious about it, about where it's got to be, sharp or soft or dark or light, thick or thin. Then you can take your time, really laying it in there, because you already got the value established. And then, once your values are established, that kind of guides the drawing in a lot of cases. So. And then
Well, I went back and did her again because I was frustrated, but
yeah, and you did a much better job on this one. See,
it took a little bit longer. Did it this morning.
Okay. All right. But yeah, overall, she's a lot softer. So, and she's got, some sense of volume and form on her face itself. You probably could have pushed the values in the shell a little bit, because there was one side of the shell that was definitely lighter, and the other was, it wasn't in like deep shadow, but it was definitely in shadow. So, and that's, really it's this whole vertical plane here had some kind of value on it, and then all of the top plane was in light. So, all right. Okay, so guess what?
What?
That's it. That's all we got for you.
Okay.
What about yours?
What
Yeah.
about your own?
Yeah, I'll do mine.
Sure.
Okay, so I'll start with, where do I want to start? I'll start with my drawing of the lion. And so Now this is Prismacolor pencil. It's on that gray paper, right? Whoop, come back here. You know, and it's basically a sepia tone pencil and white on a gray. And so, you know, that gives me, you know, a variety of, or a range of value. And, you know, the only thing with a Prismacolor pencil is that you can lay it down very softly, but it takes a while to build it up, and you have to move kind of slow with it. And for a 30-minute drawing, I didn't really have enough time to really make a lot of these transitions as smooth as I would like to. So I'll probably go back in and work on this some more. But just didn't have the time to right then. Now, I did have more time on the girl, right? And so generally, you know, she feels, you know, a fair amount softer. And, you know, I got enough contrast, you know, using the same tools to sort of indicate where the light was coming from. And then, and this is the lily. So.
That is terrific.
And so, you know, I tried not to do like the other flower and stuff. I wanted to concentrate on that one particular flower and the stem that was supporting it, and try to get the feeling of the flower feeling closer to us than the leaves of the stem. So. So it worked out, you know. And then I had an idea. I had gone to, on Sunday night, I'd gone to a session, a model session over at the Artist Resource Center, over at Shane McDonald's studio. And we had a lovely young model who posed for us. And so I did this painting of her. And this is a 3-hour, well, reality is it's about a 2.5-hour painting. Okay. Probably closer to 2 hours, you know, with breaks and everything else. And it's in oil. It's about 11 by 14. And, you know, it worked out. You know, I moved pretty quickly. You know, felt like I got a pretty good representation of her up there. And so, you know, there's not much more that I'd really want to do to this. After a while looking at it, I want to narrow the wrist right here. It's a little bit too thick. So here on the inside, I'm going to try to taper that arm back a little bit. And that will make it feel, you know, sort of like it's angled backwards and going away from us. Right now, it feels a little too flat to me. And,
Charles, was this in Shane's studio?
yeah.
Yeah. No, not the room we used to paint in.
No, it was actually in the same room that we painted in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a little platform that we would set up, and then we put, you know, like boxes or something on there, or you know, like a drawing steel stand, and then pile fabric over it so that she's got something soft, you know, to kind of sit in or on. So. And then, you know, when we were doing the warm-ups, we were doing like these little 3-minute gestures, right? And I've got the gestures, I didn't shoot them. But rather than draw them, I used paint. And so I did little paintings, you know, of her figure. And I did, I think I did 5, you know, 5 of the 6 poses, you know, on the one board. And the board is maybe 2/3 the size of this. So it's not really all that big. But while she was doing the different poses, she went and grabbed herself a prop, which was a skeleton that Shane had in his studio, and she did this little dance move with it, and so, you know, basically, now this is just kind of a rough concept sketch, but you know, I really like the concept, the idea behind that, and so I wanted to actually paint it. And so this is, to me, you know, I came up with a title for it, The Last Dance. So.
Just saw that. You must have put it up on Facebook. I just saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. I put
Yep.
it up last night, early this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gee, I just saw that.
Yeah, because I just did it. You know, I mean, you know, she let us take some photographs of you know, of her while she was holding this pose, and so I took a couple of photos, and you know, I changed the figures a bit because the skeleton itself is hanging and on a roller, and so it's considerably taller than she is.
Recording in progress.
Not that it wasn't taller than her anyway, but you know, so I lowered the skeleton and then I repositioned the legs of the skeleton because they were just hanging straight down to try to emulate a little bit of what she's doing, you know, as far as the dance move. And then, and this arm, you know, around the skeleton or around her, you know, it was hanging down by its side, but, you know, I tried to work it to move, you know, back behind her back. So it looks like they're dancing. You
This
know.
is great. I love it. Day of the Dead.
What medium?
This is Prismacolor pencil.
What is it?
Yeah, it's just, again, you know, this is like it's bigger than like a normal thumbnail sketch. You know, it's, you know, it's on an 11 by 14 piece of paper and it takes up probably like 2/3 of it. You know, so it's not real big. It's just, again, I'm just trying to figure out, you know, how you position the bodies and things like that. Because you can't really work directly from the photograph because she's too vertical and she doesn't look like she's moving enough. And so you got to kind of push the curve and the angles and stuff. And even in the drawing, I can tell I really need to push, you know, both the curve in her spine and the curve in his spine quite a bit to really get this sense of movement to it. And
How about his patella that's coming right at you? It seems like it needs to be bigger.
Yeah, it's not a real big bone, you know, when you get down right to the bony part of it. You know, it's just this little kind of triangular shaped bone. Now it hooks on, or it kind of connects or fits into, you know, the crown of the tibia right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, which if you
Oh.
look at the tibia from the top, it's kind of a triangle, you know, and then it kind of, as it tapers down, it turns round, you know, about halfway down the shaft and stays fairly round right to the bottom where it forms the cup for the ankle. So, but yeah, you know, I'll have to get a skeleton out and I'll have to play with it. And, you know, I mean, this was literally, I'll bet you I did this drawing in less than 30 minutes.
Wow.
So, you know.
Well, you must have been inspired.
Well, yeah, it's yeah. You know, when I saw that, I really liked the idea, and so it's been kind of bouncing around in my head for a couple of days, and I just needed to get something down, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably do, you know, at least 4 or 5 more drawings, you know, at a larger scale, you know, and try to work out, you know, some of the actual anatomy and stuff like that. you know, and get all that right. You know, for me, you know, when I jumped into doing this, all I was really looking for is just get the idea. You know? And so there's, you know, from here, I've got different things that I want to do with it. Like right now, I've just got the 2 figures, right? But kind of what I'm thinking is that I want figures in the background going, you know, sort of along this bridge, you know, back to the other side, off into the distance. And they're all, you know, just dancing. You know, it's kind of, you know, like the story of the Pied Piper.
Oh, yeah.
You know, how in the illustrations of the Pied Piper, all the kids were kind of twirling around and dancing and stuff. You know, same kind of idea with all the other figures. So.
Well, I think you could do lots and lots of different things with that.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of a, you know, it's a bit dark, but it's
Oh, no, I think it's fun.
but it's kind of a fun idea. You know. So, you know, I think it opens up conversations about mortality. So, anyway, so
Better to be dancing.
yep, every chance you get.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's everything I've got. Anybody got any comments, questions?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I was following the Plein Air magazine on Facebook,
Mhm.
and they have a contest. I guess the first prize is $15,000.
Mhm.
So my question leads to, not that I'm going to submit at this time, I'm far from that, but how do they select the judges?
Oh, these days that is not hard. Plein Air magazine is basically organized or was started by a guy by the name of Eric Rhodes. Okay. Eric Rhodes, well, we see him all the time, you know, when we're watching some of those demos,
Yes.
plein air painting, stuff like that. Yeah, that's Eric Rhodes doing the interviews. But along with the magazine, and he does drawing, plein air, fine art connoisseur. There's about 6 different art magazines that his company publishes. And, you know, he has, you know, he helps organize and sponsor a lot of these national and international conferences, particularly for plein air and portrait painting, figurative painting, things like that. So he has access to all kinds of people, you know, who are working professionals. And, you know, and usually what they'll do is they'll select a judging committee of 3 people, right? And those 3 people will go through all of the entries and they'll kind of narrow it down to, you know, first, second, or third in all the different categories. Now, the competition you're talking about entering is judged by category of age, okay? So they have a category for, I think, people under 18. They have a category for people who are over 30. They have a category for, you know, seniors. I think you've got to be, I want to say you got to be 60 or above, you know, fit into the senior category. Nobody can do that here. We're all way too young for that.
That's right, yeah.
Right.
You know, but it's category, and they also judge it, you know, in age, but they also categorize it by subject. You know, is it a plein air landscape? Does it have a figure in it? Is it a portrait? Is it a still life? You know, so they really break it down. You know, does it have an animal? Does it have architecture? Is there water in it? I mean, they've got dozens of categories. And the thing that's kind of confusing about making an entry, well, it's kind of confusing, and it's a way for them to make more money at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, you can submit a piece and you pay a fee, but I think you can't put that piece in more than like 3 categories. Okay. If it fits into more than, if you want to enter it in like 5 categories, you got to pay extra money for that. For every category more after that you're gonna.
And how much are we talking about?
What, about $40?
Yeah, I didn't notice that part. I just wondered when I looked at the judges, I was like, well, how did they get to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't see you there. So then I got upset more and then came out. So just saying.
Yeah. But no, I mean, yeah, they've got some great judges. Yeah. I mean, they've got really, really good people. But the thing you have to understand about any competition
Okay.
is that you get a judge and you never know what that judge is going to like. And it really isn't, it in no way is it a reflection on the ability of you as an artist and or your skill or anything else. It's really about, the likes and dislikes of that judge.
Okay.
So, just realize that when you enter a competition, that's kind of what you're up against,
I never felt a competition like that was fair because, like you say, it's basically someone's opinion and what appeals to their taste.
Well, in that case, John, there's no competition in art that's ever really fair.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, you could look at it that way, or you could just realize that, hey, I mean, this guy loves pen and ink work. I don't do pen and ink work, so I'm probably not going to get first place. Because if somebody submits a really great pen and ink piece, that's the one going to get the blue ribbon. And you sort of know that, up front. And it's, your motivation, it would be nice to win $15,000, okay? But, or 150,000 or however much it is, it's really a lot of money. But the thing is, how this works is you enter a competition and it's a monthly competition. Now, if you won that, you don't get $15,000 next week, okay? Because what will happen is they'll take your piece that won first place, and then they'll have another competition with all the other pieces that took first place, and they'll have a different set of judges, and all those judges will be looking at those first place pieces and picking the one that was really the standout for the year. And that's the one that gets, put on the cover of the magazine and yada, yada, yada. There's all kinds of perks after that. But yeah, just because you won or that, you took a first, second, or third, this month, that doesn't mean that you won all the money.
Oh.
Yeah. That'll be toward the end of the year when they have the final competition with all the different winners.
I see.
So it's kind of a convoluted process that you got to go through. But if your goal for entering a contest, or showing your work, is to have an opportunity to get it out in the world so people can see it and become more aware of what you're doing as an artist, and at the same time, to get your work not only in front of the general public, but also in front of other artists. Again, so that they can kind of see what you're doing, which might open some doors for them to ask you some questions and vice versa. And you might make some great friends that way, things like that. You know, so there's really all kind of benefits from entering something like that. And it's not just prize money, you know, or getting a blue ribbon.
Right.
Because I'll guarantee you, you know, if you do this long enough and you win enough blue ribbons, yellow ribbons, pink ribbons, and green and whatever other color they have, after a little while, you'll begin to forget which ribbon went to which painting. You know, oh, yeah, okay, what painting did that go to? Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really
Go for it, Veronica. Go for it.
Oh, any of you.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Go for it.
Yeah. If you don't try it, you won't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm just not ready for that yet. Okay, so now here's my next aspect. Basquiat,
Okay.
his painting, and I can't remember if it was Sotheby's or one of the other auction houses, I think recently sold for 40 or 50 million dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because, you know, all these social platforms start to blend after a minute.
Yeah. So, yes, that is true. His work did and does sell for a lot of money.
Yeah.
So what's your question?
No, there's no question. That was just a tidbit of info. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were going to ask a question like, well, why did it get that price?
Oh, no, I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
The first set of questions was more along my lines. The other one was just a tidbit of information.
Yeah.
And he can't make any more because he's not here to make it.
No, he is not. You know,
But
and
somebody's making it.
Yeah.
that has a lot to do with why it got the price that it's getting.
Yeah.
Well, one thing's for sure, that Sotheby's made 40% of that.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me share with you a little bit about auction houses and you know, and particularly auction houses that sell fine art. Since the pandemic, they have never had a better year.
Wow.
More art has changed hands in private collections and museum collections than probably 40 years, you know, combined, you know, before the pandemic. I mean, they've been that busy. So there's a huge amount of money shifting around. And there's different reasons for that. Some of it good reasons, some of it not so good. You know, one of the things that disturb me to no end is like with Basquiat's work. Okay. You know, is it really worth $40 million? You know, to me, it's not, but somebody bought it. You know, somebody wanted it that badly, but their motivation for buying it may not be, you know, may not be what you think. You know, it may not be because they love that painting, because it's a sad fact, okay, that probably a good 50 to 60% of the paintings that are sold to those auction houses will never see the light of day and never be hung on a wall.
Wow.
Ever. It'll stay in a vault. Because at that price, it's not a painting. It's an asset. It's a
Got it.
financial asset. And in the world today, most collectors are not going to have their assets in a vulnerable position where the public can get to them and possibly deface them or something like that. Not going to happen. And it used to be, there for about 10, 15 years, that a good deal of the European and American Impressionist art that went up for auction left the country and went to Japan. That's no longer the case. Evidently, the Saudi Arabians bought a Dyson, and they're vacuuming up the whole world, literally. No, I'm serious. They are buying everything they can, and transferring their wealth, out of natural resources and oil and into collectibles, things,
Got it.
assets they can manage. So
Always when the times are hard.
yeah, but that's kind of when, the world has changed. Collectors used to collect artwork, because they loved a particular artist or a period of art or something like that. And there are still people out there like that, don't get me wrong. There are still private collectors and families who have been collecting for many generations, who have fabulous collections in their homes that museums would die to have, but never will be able to get their hands on. But then there's a whole nother set of collectors out there who are buying art, in my estimation or my viewpoint, for the totally wrong reasons, and that's because they're artificially inflating the value of it so that they can shelter their assets and money, kind of like the housing market.
Yeah.
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 It used to be that a lot of your private collectors would offer their collection for exhibit in museums for periods of time so that the public could actually enjoy it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there are traveling collections and trusts that were set up by people several generations ago that, the way that they fund the trust in a lot of ways is that they'll charge museums a fee, to show their collection. And that keeps the trust going for, another 10 or 15 years.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. In fact, the High Museum, for at least a good 4 or 5 years, they were kind of in between head curators, and they had some people come on temporarily. And that's basically what they did, is they spent their money rather than in trying to collect art themselves for their permanent collection. They spent their money in bringing in the traveling exhibits. Now, what I can tell you about that is that was probably one of the best periods of time in the High's history. And they made more money off of those traveling exhibits, like the Wyeth exhibit, right? They brought in massive amounts of people, and it really helped their revenue a lot. Now, it cost them money, to get, the wine in there, but, but they made a ton of money, in the process of doing it. So it paid off. And they've done that with, a good variety of collections where they brought them in. And most of them, have been pretty successful. So, but anyhow, that's all I got. Anybody else got any other questions? Anything we need to cover before we go away?
7 minutes too early.
Okay. You wanna wind it out to right at 4 o'clock? I mean, we can do that.
No, I could go take a nap. I'm sure you could too.
Yeah, actually, I could.
Gwen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably, after that shot, you probably need to.
Yeah,
Yeah, drink the water and wrap up and
Yeah.
snooze.
yeah. I was definitely fading the last half of the class. Yeah.
Okay.
You did well. You
Yep,
did well.
we could see you later then.
Okay. So guess what? Tomorrow's Wednesday. That means I'll see you at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh, is that
my new dog is getting me up at 5:30 to 6.
are you suggesting that we should have the class at 5:30 or 6 there?
Well, I'll be there. We'll see if you will after the
So
shot.
Gwen, is it a puppy? Why it's getting up so early?
No, he's 7.5 years old.
Oh, it's a new environment. That's probably
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah, he goes plunk when he rearranges himself.
Oh God. Okay.
Yes, Gwen.
But it's nice having big dogs again.
Gwen is trying to get used to a new routine. So
Yeah.
Yeah, not used to. I'm trying to get him used to mine.
yeah, and we all know how that works out, Gwen, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Somehow you both will come to a compromise.
Yep. We'll see who's harder headed longer.
Right. That's how it works. All right, everybody. I've got a couple of different artists I'm going to show you, including a young man who is an African-American artist, does some really, really nice figurative work. I think you'll like his stuff. It's representational, but it's kind of edgy and kind of abstract at the same time. So.
Okay.
Kind of like the skeleton.
No.
No.
But no, he's got some beautiful work. And then, there's a couple of other people and we'll probably go back and revisit Federico. What's his last name? London Gainey or something like that. Anyway, the pastel artist,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found a treasure trove of a whole bunch of his work. I mean,
Wow.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's wonderful. That would be great.
Yeah, he's got some beautiful pieces, that we hadn't looked at before. So I was going to share those with you as well. So
Okay.
And we got a short video on him as well, so you get a little bit of, actual verbal history about him.
Don't we have one more segment of a video to watch?
Well, I think we were looking at pictures in a museum, and we didn't quite finish that, but
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
this
that video-
was
Yeah, that's the
was
area. Yeah, no,
was different. too.
Yeah, we did Elizabeth.
Donna.
What's your Braun? LeBron. Yeah. No, we looked at both parts of that.
Oh, I thought that we stopped it early and we didn't get to see it all.
No, we did. Yeah. No,
Okay.
Yeah, we did part 1 and part 2. So yeah, there's got to be 15 at least, 15 videos on her out there.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
At least, to choose from. The one that was in 2 parts, and that's why we broke it up, because some people have told me that their attention span doesn't last for 2 hours. So now I'm not sure that my attention span lasts for 2 hours right now. So
All
So
right.
what is that? That's 240 minutes, right?
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no,
I think it's
2 hours is 120 minutes.
120. Okay, I was making it longer.
Yeah, that's 4 hours.
So I think you hold people's attention at the rate of about 10 minutes for every, I forget what it is, but you don't hold it very long, but it's also a function of age. So you tend to do better at older ages.
Some of us, some of us.
I don't know. Okay.
Let me share with you something that should make your day. Okay. Your attention span, because of the age range that you're in, is a good third longer than the average 30 to 40-year-old in this country right now. And are we here? Are we gone? Hello? Okay.
That was great timing, Charles.
Okay. All right.
You froze right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, I was talking, and then all of a sudden it's like everybody was just, like frozen. Anyway, all I was saying is that, your attention span is about 1/3 longer than your average 30 to 40-year-old right now in this country.
Because of art? Because of drawing?
No.
Because of age.
No, because you grew up in a time when there was not social media and you weren't using cell phones and stuff like that, which has actually shortened the attention span of the younger generation, in this country. And children are even worse.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. You got like 4 minutes with them. That's it, max.
Maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, no, that's if they're really into it and interested, If they're with you for 4 minutes, that's, unheard of. But yeah, that's one of the things that's being talked about right now is the change in the workforce and how, if companies are going to hire people, how they're going to adapt to that shortened attention span. Because it's being driven, by society and how we communicate and the fact that we're on computers all the time. And so yeah, it's gone way down. It's scary. So.
Well, they were saying the prime workforce that people should try to hire are those over the age of 50.
Right. Yeah. Actually, people who are supposed to be like retiring right now, a lot of corporations and companies want to bring them back into senior management positions.
Yes.
Because they can't find people with the actual experience and qualifications out there in the world to run those companies.
Yeah, the people skills.
Yeah.
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 It's frightening. And guess what? Those are our doctors.
Oh God, yeah.
Uh-oh.
And our nurses, okay? So, if I ever end up in the hospital, I'm hoping they're having a good day,
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and can stay.
They're teaching their children and grandchildren.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I love my grandkids, and all, but yeah, I can't imagine what the world is going to be like with them. It's just no telling. So anyhow.
Okay.
It was fun seeing everyone. I'm signing off.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Thank you.
join Gwen and
Bye, everybody.
go lay down and take a nap. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see. I got to let the dog out first, and then I might wake up.
All right, well, I'm headed for the couch for a while. So anyway.
Yeah, you
Okay.
take it easy, Charles.
Take it
'cause You're
easy.
the one.
All right.
Adios, adios, amigos.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.